What if I told you that the reason you can't study isn't because you're lazy? It's not because you're broken. It's not because you lack discipline like your friends seem to have. No, the real reason is because your brain is trying to protect you. Sounds insane, right? But think about this. Every time you open that book, every time you sit down with that blank Google Doc, there's this quiet voice inside that whispers, "What if you fail? What if this isn't enough? What if you waste all this time and still disappoint everyone?" So your brain does the one thing it knows how to do best. It keeps you safe by scrolling, by checking messages, by delaying. But what if there was a way to build study habits that run themselves, effortlessly, automatically, like brushing your teeth? Stick around. I'm going to show you exactly how to rewire your mind so studying becomes something you do, not something you fight. Why you can't force it. Let's be honest. You've tried to force yourself to study before, haven't you? You made a perfect plan. Color-coded Google Calendar, study playlists, fancy Notion templates. And for maybe 1 day, 2 days it worked. But then something cracked. Suddenly, you're lying on your bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking, "Why can't I just do what I planned?" You feel guilty. You feel weak. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? But here's the truth. No one tells you. You can't force habits that your brain hasn't accepted. Your brain hates change. It hates discomfort. It fights back. That's why every time you force yourself to study for hours, your mind screams, "Nope, this feels dangerous. This feels exhausting. We are not doing this." And so, you procrastinate. Not because you suck. Not because you're lazy. But because your brain is protecting you from what it sees as pain. Let that sink in. Studying feels like pain to your brain, uncertainty, effort, possible failure. So, every time you sit down to study, your brain offers an escape. Hey, what about YouTube? What about Instagram? What about reorganizing your desk for the 15th time? And you take the escape because your brain rewards you with a hit of dopamine. Relief, comfort, safety. But here's the good news. You can change this reaction. Not by force, not by guilt, not by pushing harder, but by sneaking past your brain's defenses, by building tiny habits that are so small, so safe that your brain doesn't even notice. That's the secret. Tiny, automatic, brain-approved habits that make studying feel normal, almost like breathing. In the next part, I'll show you how to plant the first seed. The habit so ridiculously small, your brain won't even flinch, and that tiny change will grow into something unstoppable. Ready? The 2-minute rule that changes everything. Here's the moment where most people get it wrong. When they try to build a new habit, especially a study habit, they aim big. Starting tomorrow, I'll study 4 hours every night. Starting this weekend, I'll finish that whole textbook. But you know what happens. You crash, you burn out, you quit, because your brain smells danger. So here's the trick that flips everything. The 2-minute rule. It sounds almost stupid, almost like cheating, but it works. Here it is. Any habit you want to build must start small enough to finish in 2 minutes or less. That's it. Not study chemistry for 3 hours. But open my chemistry notebook. Not write a 2,000-word essay. But open Google Docs and write the first sentence. That's all you promise yourself. Why? Because once you start, your brain relaxes. The threat is gone. It's not scary anymore. And strangely, magically, you keep going. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't brush for an hour. You brush for 2 minutes. But you do it every day without fail. Because it's normal, easy, automatic. Your study habits can feel the same way. One student I know set a goal to read just 1 page of his textbook per day. Sounds pathetic, right? But he never stopped at 1 page. Once the book was open, Once his mind crossed that tiny starting line, momentum carried him forward. You can do this too. Pick the subject that haunts you most, the one you dread. And tomorrow, don't study for an hour. Just open the book, read one line, close it, done. Your brain will think, that wasn't so bad. And when you repeat this tiny habit day after day, your brain starts to trust you. It starts to believe that studying isn't a threat. That's when the habit grows on its own, naturally, without a fight. And this is only the beginning. In the next part, I'll tell you how to stack these tiny wins into unstoppable momentum without willpower. Let's keep going. Stacking habits, the domino effect. So, you've planted the first seed, the 2-minute habit, the tiniest possible step. But how do you make that small win turn into real progress? Real study sessions? Here's the secret. You stack your habits. It's called habit stacking, and it's how you create a chain reaction in your brain, like dominoes. Here's how it works. You already have habits you do every day, things you don't even think about. Checking your phone when you wake up, brushing your teeth, making tea or coffee. What if you attached your new study habit to something you already do? For example, after you brush your teeth, you open your laptop and pull up your study notes. After you make tea, you write one sentence for your essay. After you put down your phone in the morning, you read the first page of your textbook. Simple, easy, automatic. Your brain loves this because it doesn't have to create a new path from scratch. It just adds a tiny turn to the path that's already there. One student told me this changed everything for her. She always made coffee before studying, but she used to scroll TikTok while it brewed. So she switched the habit. Now when she makes coffee, she opens her laptop. No TikTok until after she reads her lecture slides. Tiny change, huge result. This is how your habits grow roots. How they start to feel normal, like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes. And the best part? You don't need motivation. You don't need to hype yourself up every time. Because your brain starts to expect the habit. Brushed teeth? Time to open the book. Made coffee? Time to write the first sentence. The dominoes fall effortlessly. And suddenly, studying becomes part of who you are. But wait, what about bad days? Lazy days? Days when everything feels impossible? That's what we'll tackle next. The bare minimum rule that saves you from breaking the chain and keeps your momentum alive no matter what. Stay with me. The bare minimum rule. Never break the chain. Let's get real. You won't feel motivated every day. Some days you'll wake up tired, overwhelmed, mentally wrecked. Maybe there's an exam tomorrow. Maybe you fought with a friend. Maybe life just feels too much. And on those days, it's so easy to say, forget it. I'll skip today. I'll start fresh tomorrow. But this is where everything can fall apart. Because when you break the chain, even once your brain feels permission to break it again and again, that's why the most successful students I've met follow what I call the bare minimum rule. Here's how it works. No matter how bad the day is, you do the tiniest version of your habit. Even if you're exhausted, even if you're late, even if you're miserable. Open the book. Read one line. Close it. Done. That counts. Write one sentence of your essay. Not a paragraph, not a page. One sentence. Done. Why does this matter? Because you're protecting something more valuable than study time. You're protecting your identity. Every time you show up, even for 30 seconds, you tell your brain, I'm the kind of person who studies, no matter what. It's like keeping a tiny flame alive in the rain. The flame might flicker, it might shrink, but it never dies. And that flame, your habit, stays alive long enough to grow stronger on the good days. Some of the most disciplined students in the world don't have perfect motivation. They just never let the flame go out. Even when they feel like garbage, even when life crashes down, they do the bare minimum. One line, one page, one sentence, and that tiny action protects the whole habit. So, next time you want to skip, don't. Do the smallest, easiest version possible. That's what we'll fix in the next part, the secret of natural expansion. Ready? Letting the habit grow without forcing it. Okay, you've started tiny. You've kept the chain alive even on the worst days. But now something strange happens. One day you open your book to read one line, and you read 2, then 5, then 10. And it feels natural, easy, like breathing. That's because your brain is starting to trust you. It no longer sees studying as a threat. It sees it as normal life. And when something feels safe, your mind lets it expand. This is called natural expansion. You're not forcing yourself to study more. You're letting your brain offer more. You open your essay to write one sentence, and ideas keep flowing. You review flashcards for 2 minutes, and suddenly 20 minutes have passed. No pain, no struggle, no inner war. It's like watering a plant. You don't yank it to make it taller, you feed it and it grows on its own. Let this happen. Don't set brutal, unrealistic goals like, I must study 3 hours today or I'm a failure. Instead, stay curious. How much do I want to do today? How far will this session naturally go? Some days it'll stay small, and that's okay. Some days, without thinking, you'll double or triple your usual time because you feel good. That's the beauty of natural expansion. Your habit grows as you grow, not because you force it, but because your brain is finally on your side. And here's the bonus. When you expand naturally, you build confidence. Confidence that you can handle studying. Confidence that you're the kind of person who shows up. Confidence that this habit is becoming permanent. Perfectionism. The belief that every session must be good enough, or else it's worthless. We need to destroy that poison thought. And that's exactly what the next part is for. Perfectionism, the silent habit killer. Let's talk about the quiet killer hiding behind every failed study habit. Perfectionism. It whispers in your ear, this study session better be perfect. You better focus the entire time. You better finish everything on your list. And if you slip, if you get distracted, if you stare at the wall for 5 minutes, perfectionism says, see, you're useless. You can't even study properly. Why bother trying tomorrow? And just like that, the chain breaks. You skip a day, then another, then the habit dies. But here's the truth. No study habit is perfect. No session is flawless. Even the best students in the world have messy days, lazy days, boring days. But they keep going because they understand this. Consistency beats perfection every time. Think about it. What's better? A perfect 3-hour study session you do once every 2 weeks, or a messy, distracted, clumsy 10-minute session you do every day? It's the second one, always. Because imperfect action builds identity, builds trust, builds momentum. You don't need to study like a machine. You just need to show up. Open the book, read the line, write the sentence. Even if you daydream halfway through. Even if you check your phone by accident. Even if you finish only half your list. It still counts. You're just living the habit. This is how study habits become permanent. How they become part of your life forever. But what about the ultimate reward? What happens when your habit is so strong, so automatic, that you barely notice it anymore? When studying becomes who you are. Something amazing happens when you do this long enough. You stop thinking about studying. You just do it. Like brushing your teeth. Like locking the door before bed. No drama, no resistance. No should I or shouldn't I battle in your head. Your brain quietly says, "Oh, right, it's study time." Without guilt, without exhaustion. Because this habit is no longer something you try to do. You become the kind of person who studies, the kind of person who shows up, the kind of person who keeps promises to themselves. And this changes everything. It's no longer about motivation or willpower or making perfect plans. It's about identity. I'm the type of person who learns things. I'm the type of person who takes care of my future. I'm the type of person who finishes what they start. Think about how powerful that is. You can miss a day. You can have a terrible week. But the habit doesn't die because it's part of you now. Suddenly, you're not just someone who studies. You're someone who works out. Someone who eats better. Someone who reads more. Because your brain knows you can build habits now. You've done it. You've won. And that fear you used to carry, fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, starts to melt. Because you've proven to yourself that you can change. You can grow. You can become who you want to be. Without shame, without panic, without breaking yourself. Just quiet, gentle, unstoppable progress. And if you ever feel lost, if the old chaos returns, you'll know exactly what to do. So, tomorrow, don't try to be perfect. Don't try to be a machine. Just open the book. Read the line. Write the sentence. Keep the chain alive. Because months from now, when studying feels effortless, when your mind is calm, when your grades rise without panic, you'll remember this moment. This tiny choice to start small. And if this video helped you even a little, do one more small thing right now. Like this video. I'm building my chain if you're starting today. Subscribe for more real, honest strategies that actually work.